We are all waiting for the Mexican assets to get their final approval to go in production, finally. And Sonoro Gold is one of the companies that we have been following for quite a while now, a couple of years. We are with the management, with the team, we are invested, and we hope to get the license here soon. And today with me is Ken McLeod. He is the CEO of Sonoro Gold. And Ken, there is a lot of things happening in Sonora State in Mexico, and I'm very happy that we can have you today for quite an update. But first of all, maybe you can just summarize for our viewers what Sonoro Gold is about and what the current situation with the company is like.
Hello, Jan. It's great to be with you again. So yes, I will summarize the situation with Sonoro Gold, and our Cerro Caliche project in Sonora State, Mexico, has been underway since 2018. We've done 55,000 meters of drilling. We produced a report by SRK, which showed 440,000 ounces within the pit shells, and which results in about 300,000 ounces of gold mined. And based upon a 12,000 ton per day throughput, our mine proposal was capable of producing 33,000 net ounces of gold per year. Now, keep in mind, it's important to remember that we've only drilled and assayed less than 30% of the known mineralized resources on the property. We have 25 parallel vein structures trending northwest on the property, and we've only drilled 7 or 8 of those so far. And we've only incorporated about 6 of those into the resource estimation. So as it stands, we have a potential for increasing substantially the resource on the concession. SRK also gave us another up to 285,000 ounces within the drilled areas, which are already drilled, but the drill spacing was not tight enough for them to classify that. So it doesn't take any long stretch of the imagination to understand that if we continue to drill in those areas, we should be able to increase the resource by possibly that much, 285,000 ounces. But that takes us only within the areas that are actually drilled to date. So we have a significant amount of potential, and we've always maintained that potential for the property is 2 million ounces. So how do we achieve that? Well, from day one, we set our business plan on the basis of we drill enough ounces to get into production at the least cost. And the mine plan currently calls for going into production with the 400,000 ounces within the current pit shells, and then use the cash flow to continue with the drilling program, to continue to expand the resource, maybe expand the life of mine, expand the actual daily throughput. So that is a summation of where we're at. Now, 2022, we submitted the Environmental Impact Statement, or MIA, as it's known in Mexico. Now, this Environmental Impact Statement got held up under the old government of President López Obrador, who was not exactly the friend of the mining industry. And since October of 2024, we have a new president in Mexico, President Claudia Sheinbaum. We've seen a sea change in attitude towards the mining community. All of a sudden, we started getting communications from the environmental agency, Semarnat, and we're now back to really business as usual and dealing with the government and dealing with Semarnat. So I'm really, really pleased to report that. We've also seen since February the 1st, well over 50 projects that have been approved. Now, these are existing projects in Mexico that had applied for permits, some as far back as 3 years before, to expand their operation, build a new open pit mine or within our concession, build a new or extension to their existing underground mine, and these have been granted. So I don't think it's any stretch of the imagination that I can say that it's only a matter of time now before new open pit mines are going to be granted approval. And
that sounds very good.
That's where we're sitting at this moment in time. So yesterday, or earlier this week, we announced the acquisition of the surface rights to the project. So let me explain why this is important to us. From 2018 until June the 30th of this year, we were operating on the project with an exploration license. In other words, the landowner granted us the surface rights to explore and drill on the property. Now, when you're going into production, you need to renegotiate and have a surface rights for mining purposes. And there's a big distinction, of course. Of course, the impact from mining is a lot greater than the impact from drilling. So the cost is obviously higher. So from the time that we originally signed the first surface rights agreement with the landowner, the price of gold was under $1,500. So there was an expectation of a robust price for the surface rights at that time. And we did have a negotiation, and we came to an agreement which was never consummated because we were held up for the MIA approval. But the expiration of the exploration surface rights agreement was June the 30th, which meant that we had to renegotiate on July the 1st of this year. And guess what? The price of gold has gone up dramatically from $1,500 to $3,300. That has an impact on the price you're going to be paying for the surface rights, because the landowner is very cognizant of the value of the land under his feet. So sat down and we worked out the terms that you saw in the news release this week. And do we classify it as expensive? It's probably more expensive than I would have wanted. But on the other hand, it's better than waiting for the MIA to be approved and then have to go in and negotiate, because then the terms could possibly be more onerous. And we needed the certainty at this point in time to go forward with the finalization of the MIA, the change of land use permit, which is an important component as well. But in order to get the change of land use permit, you need to have the approval and the signature of the landowner on the surface rights. So we've accomplished all of that. We're paying what is essentially a 25-year lease, which is at 12 and a half years is renewable for another 12 and a half years, and the same terms and conditions as a first period. And so we figured that it just works out to just over $1 million a year, which when you consider the value of the project and the value of the potential value at $3,000 to $3,300 gold, this is a mere blip on the cash flow model that is not going to affect the economics of the project. So we're very satisfied that we've worked out an agreement that gives us a certainty of ownership and also gives us a certainty of the potential if we're going to expand our boundaries within the Cerro Prieto Ranch, which is the area we're operating under. We have that ability. And there are obviously potential for expanding the boundaries of our mining area as well. So we're very, very satisfied that we've accomplished a major milestone, and the next major milestone will be getting the MIA approved. And we can talk about that as well.
Very good. Ken, I think there's one more thing I would like to talk about when it comes to the surface right, and you just mentioned it in the end, that you have a little bit more of the surface area than the Cerro Caliche project is. Is that correct? What else did you buy in that package? What does it mean if you have more surface area bought basically than the Cerro Caliche project is? Is it an advantage for you in the future? What could that be?
Yeah, so the initial lease that we've signed is over 3,000 hectares, and there's an additional just over 1,000 hectares that will become free in 2028, and it'll then come under our management at that point in time. So that gives us it's actually we've secured almost a total of 5,000 hectares in total is what it is. So it's 4,000 hectares up front, 1,000 hectares in the future. And And it gives us a flexibility that if the certainty of being able to access the mine from different routes gives us a certainty of if we want to expand into other areas on the property that we may do so by securing additional mining leases in the area. So it's a very worthwhile agreement for us to secure the entire area of the ranch as opposed to just the area we're going to mine.
Very good, very good. And Ken, we talked about obviously getting the permit and getting the final MIA license. Obviously, our community has been involved in what are the other player that is actually in Mexico and became a producer in the past. Not certainly not because of getting a permit, but instead of buying producing assets, right? And the share price went up very good with the other companies. The reason is quite easy, quite simple. We see a very good gold price here and a very low operating cost, especially in Mexico. So that could also be the future of Sonoro Gold. But the final puzzle piece, if you like, is getting the final MIA license. You just mentioned that you get a little bit of communication and everything is back to normal. Give us an idea about how and when can we expect it? Is there a date outline from the government? I think when I've been to the PDAC and you've been there also, they told us, well, mid-year would be a potential date for having a new mining code, and then everything could be easier and more smooth. Is that still the case? What's happening there?
I think you can thank Mr. Trump for delaying the process with respect to the mining law. I've been dealing with the senior people in mining in Mexico City, and while they fully expected to have the new regulations in place by the end of June, the fact that Trump imposed the 50% tariffs on steel and aluminum, along with all the other machinations that are going on, has essentially diverted the attention of the government to these matters, which are probably more important to the country than us getting our mining license. However, at the same time, I have every degree of confidence that the mining license will be granted, and therefore it's strictly a matter of time. They will devote time to it. When it's going to happen, I honestly cannot tell you.
Yeah.
It could be next week, next month, or it could be 6 months from now. But I don't think it'll be in the latter time frame. I think it'll be closer to 1 to 3 months than closer to 6 months.
Very good, Ken. And maybe for the end of this interview, I mean, we talked about the latest updates, but for everybody who's interested now in getting a foot into the company, and meaning buying some shares, what do you think would be the main arguments to buy some Sonoro Gold shares right now from you as a CEO perspective?
I think the main argument is if you are able to accept my confidence in the fact that we fully expect to get the MIA approval, but I cannot tell you on which date that'll occur, this is a buying opportunity for people to get in before we make the transition from an exploration company to a development and production company. And I think the Lassonde curve would be a good example for us to quote from. We're at the bottom of the curve right now, as far as we've gone into we've had an initial high when we were exploring and everybody was excited about it. Then because of the delays with the MIA approval, we were in the trough. And so the next phase for the company will be to climb upward in a very positive trajectory as we head through construction and into production. And at that point, we will be judged not by the merits of us going out there and talking about the future. It will be judged by the cash flow that we are able to generate at that time. And it should be substantial, because when you look at the value of the company based upon the PEA, and we used two figures. The base case was $1,800 gold, and the sensitivities were done at $1,600 and $2,000 gold. And the net present value of the company at $2,000 gold was over $100 million, $116 million, as I recall. And that is a significant amount of potential for that's a sort of the support base. for the investors going forward. Will we go back to $2,000? I don't believe so, but there's a tremendous amount of positive support there. If it ever were to go down to $2,000, we would be a very successful company. But at $3,300 gold, it blows the lid of everything. So we're in the process right now, and I think it's important for your listeners to understand. We are started the process to update the PEA based upon the current price for gold. Now it'll be up to the qualified person to decide where, what the sensitivities are going to be. But we should be able to see the value of the project at $3,000 gold, and so we're looking forward to that. We started the process to provide all the updated data for the qualified person to work with. And I would imagine it'll take 2 to 3 months to get to our destination and completing that report. But it's something to look forward to.
Very cool. Ken, thank you very much for summarizing the whole story again and also giving us an idea about what's going on, especially with the latest news. It was very cool listening to you, and I wish you the best of luck, all of us, obviously, for getting the license soon and to get this thing into production, because this could be really, really big for all of us. Thank you very much, Ken, for your time. It was great.
Thank you, Jan. It's always a delight talking to you, and I look forward to, once we get the MIA approval, of coming over to Germany and going face to face with your investors in Germany. They've been very supportive over the past 3 to 4 years, and I look forward to continuing that relationship and the closeness of the dialogue that we have and the relationship we have with our German investors. So thank you very much, Jan, for getting the message across.
Thank you.